Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. So I'm here to make a learning video of customary law for my final exam that is given by Mr. Laluguna Nugraha SHMH. The topic of this video is customary marriage and inheritance law. Okay, now let's get straight to the material. The first material is customary marriage law. Customary marriage is the bonding of life together between a man and a woman, which is communal in nature with the aim of obtaining the next generation, so that the life of the alliance or clan does not become extinct, which is preceded by a series of traditional ceremonies. Next is customary marriage law system. The first system is endogamy. In this system, people are only allowed to marry someone from their own family tribe. This marriage system is rare in Indonesia. According to Van Vollenhoven, there is only one region that practically recognizes this endogamous system, namely the Toraja region. Next is exogamy system. In this system, people are required to marry into other tribes. And the last system is eleutherogamy system. Eleutherogamy is different from these two systems, which have prohibition and obligation. The prohibition contained in this system are prohibitions related to family ties concerning nasab. This system can be found in almost all Indonesian communities. Next is forms of customary marriage law. The first form is form of Hanes. Form of Hanes is a form of marriage in which the male party gives honesty to the female party. Objects that can be used as honesty are usually objects that have magical properties. Next is form of semendo marriage. Semendo marriage is essentially matrilocal and exogamous. Matrilocal means that the wife is not obligated to reside in the husband's residence. These marriages are usually found in emergency situations, where it is difficult for women to find a mate, or because men are unable to provide honesty. Next is form of free marriage. In the form of free marriage, it does not strictly determine where the husband or wife will live. This depends on the wishes of each party. This form of free marriage is endogamous, meaning that it is a recommendation to marry members of one own kind group. Next is purpose of customary marriage law. Marriage according to customary law is a relationship between a man and a woman, which bring a broader relationship between male and female kind groups, and even between one community and another. In patrilineal societies, marriage aims to maintain the paternal lineage, so the eldest son must perform a form of marriage to take a wife with payment of Hanes money, where after the marriage, the wife joins the husband kinship and letting go her customary position in the kinship structure of her father. In matrilineal societies, marriage is aimed at maintaining the mother's lineage, so the eldest daughter must perform a form of marriage to take a husband, where after the marriage, the husband joins the wife kinship and relinquishes his customary position in the kinship structure of his parents. Next is principle of customary marriage law. Customary marriage law has principles that become the parameter of society, which each region has its own rules according to local custom. The principle of marriage in customary law, namely 1. Principle of customary and kinship. Marriage in customary law is not just individually binding, but also binding on the customary community in the sense that the communal community has a responsibility in the marriage affair of its citizen. Therefore, marriage in this case is very much determined by the will of relatives and the customary community. The will in question is starting from the selection of a spouse, the issue, and other issue. The principle is actually what underlies the principle of marriage in customary law. 2. Principle of voluntariness or consent. In customary law, the bride and groom do not have full authority to express their willingness or intent to marry. Marriage must be based on the consent of parents and kind members. The indigenous community can reject the position of a husband or wife who is not recognized by the local indigenous community. Violation of this principle can be sanctioned being expelled from the kinship circle of the indigenous community, especially in indigenous communities where the tribal system is still strong, such as indigenous people of East Nusa Tenggara. 3. Principle of participation of relatives and indigenous people. In marriage, the participation of parents, relatives, and the customary community is very significant. From the selection of the bride and groom, to the approval of the marriage contract, to the perpetuation of the household, the parents and relatives have a moral responsibility towards the couple directly or indirectly. 4. Principle of polygamy. The principle of polygamy in indigenous societies has become a tradition. Many kings and aristocrats of Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam have more than one wife. Even dozen each of these polygamy wives has a different position based on the structure of local customary law. However, along with the times and the weakness of customary institution and the development of the national legal climate, the practice of polygamy in indigenous communities has begun to be abandoned. Even if it adapts to the provision contained in religion, thus polygamy in customary law has been recognized in other stranger laws. 5 is principle of selectivity. The principle of selectivity in customary law in this discussion is directed at the process and who has the right to determine the bride and groom. As explained above, in customary law, parents, relatives, and the customary community are very influential in the selection of prospective brides. Thus, the process of choosing a bride to be has more or less a role determined by parents and relatives. In the process of selecting prospective brides and grooms, it is directed towards the desired type of marriage and avoiding prohibited marriage. And the last is legal basis of customary marriage law. The unification of rules in the field of marriage law occurred when the Law Number 1 of 1974 on marriage was born. The unification of marriage law automatically means that all Indonesian citizens must use the basis of Law Number 1 of 1974 in holding or organizing marriage, even though they actually have their own customary marriage law. However, with the interpretation of a contrario, things that are not regulated in this marriage law but exist in the customary law of marriage are still valid, such as the form of marriage, marriage ceremonies, and others. Article 66 of the marriage law have functioned as the legal basis for the enactment of customary marriage law. Okay, now let's move on to the second material, that is customary inheritance law. Inheritance according to customary law is a process regarding the passing and forwarding of wealth, whether material or non-material in nature. The passing and forwarding is carried out by one generation to the next generation. Next is customary inheritance law system. The first system is collective. The collective system is a system of inheritance in which the estate is not divided individually. The characteristic is that the inheritance or legacy is inherited jointly by a group of heirs. According to the collective inheritance system, the heirs may not own the inheritance personally, but only to use, control, or manage and enjoy the result. Basically, the collective inheritance system of heirs is obligated to the heirs to manage the inheritance together. The second system is majority system. The majority system, which is a system of inheritance that determines that the undivided inheritance is inherited only by a child, and the characteristics are that the inheritance is inherited in whole or in part by child alone. which means that the right to use, the right to cultivate, and collect the result of a person is fully controlled by the eldest child with the right and obligation to take care and maintain his sibling until they can stand on their own. The last is individual system. Individual inheritance system, which is a system of inheritance that determine the heirs inherit the inheritance property divided individually. Its characteristics are that the inheritance or inheritance property is divided among the heirs. This inheritance system occurs in bilateral societies. In the individual system, if the inheritance is divided and can be owned individually as property rights, which means that each heir has the right to use, cultivate, and enjoy the result or also transaction. Especially after the testator dies, such inheritance is called individual inheritance. Next is elements of customary inheritance law. The first element is inheritance. Inheritant is a person who has died and left something that can be transferred to his living family, whether the family is through kinship, marriage, or family through fellowship living in a household. Second is inheritance wealth. Is the wealth left by a person who dies to his heirs, and inherited property consists of inherited property or original property, marital property, heirloom property, and waiting asset. The last element is heirs. Heirs are the people who are entitled to inherit the testator estate, namely biological children, parent successor, and people who have marital relationship with the testator. In addition, adopted children, stepchildren, and children outside of marriage are also known, are usually given inheritance from the heirs if the heirs give them inheritance. In addition, it can be also be given property from the testator either through grant or wills. Next is principle of customary inheritance law. The principle of customary inheritance law can be described as follows. First is principle of divinity and self-control. Namely that if the testator leaves an inheritance, the testator wants the heirs when dividing the inheritance not to dispute and not fight each other over the inheritance, because this inheritance is a sustenance from God to each heir. Second is principle of equality and shared right. Namely that each heir has the same position as a person entitled to inherit the inheritance of his heir. Balance between the right and obligation for each heir to obtain his inheritance. 3. Principle of harmony and kinship. Namely, the heirs maintain a peaceful kinship relationship, both in enjoying and utilizing the inheritance. 4. Principle of deliberation and consensus. Namely, the heirs divide their inheritance through deliberation led by the elder heirs, and if there is an agreement in the distribution of inheritance, the agreement is sincere, expressed in good words that come out of the conscience of each heir. 5 is principle of justice and care. Namely, justice based on status, position, and service, so that each family of the heir gets the inheritance, and both part as heirs and as non-heirs. This principle implies that in the family can be emphasized on the justice system. This will encourage the creation of harmony from the family, which will reduce the chance of damage to relationship of the family. The last is legal basis of customary inheritance law. Legal basis regarding customary inheritance. The following is some jurisprudence related to customary inheritance law. First is Supreme Court decision 18 March 1959 states that the right to fill or replace the position of an heir who has died earlier than the person who left the inheritance rests with the descendants in the descendants line. Second is Supreme Court decision date 10 November 1959 state that replacement of heirs in the upward lineage may also be viewed from a sense of justice. Basically, succession must be reviewed based on society's sense of justice and relate to the obligation to care for parents and vice versa. Okay, that's all the learning material on customary law about marriage and inheritance that I can convey. Thank you for watching my video. Sorry if there is a word that is less pleasing, and see you in the next video.